Hi there, it's Jan from JB Crafts and I'm back today with another video tutorial to add to my Halloween series for this year. So something that I've been looking forward to. We've never been a big celebrator of Halloween here. I don't think it is quite as big a holiday here in the UK as what it is over in the States, but I do love making. I don't know what it is about all the stuff. I love the colour schemes. I love, all the icons and everything. And I do love making for Halloween. So I decided that I would run a Halloween series throughout October, which gives me plenty of chance. I have got a few new products, as well as mixing in with a lot of what I already had that I'll keep all my Halloween things together in a box. It usually goes away during the year, to be honest, and then I dig it out at this time of year. So I thought we'd do something a little bit different today, and I've gone for a tag today. And I quite often get asked, well, what do you do with the tags? You can make these into cards. You could simply put them on the front of a card, or you could create another tag to go behind, to create sort of like a card design. But it's just a different format and it's a different space to work on. And I really enjoy these. I often keep these. I mean, you can use them as a tag in itself, in its own right. It's entirely up to you, but it is just another format. And I've got a couple of new ideas to throw into this series as we move through October. So this is what we're going to make today. And it's using a tag die set to actually create the design. And we're looking at approximately 6¼ inches by 3¼ in height. So it would fit onto a tall card. You could either have it straight at a slight angle, you could put some pattern paper behind it. So that's what we're going to start with today. Now, I'll show you the tag die first, because this is one again that I go back to quite often. This is a Creative Expressions one that I've had for quite some time now. Let me just take the acrylic off there and you'll not get the glare. It's called Shabby Basics Tattered Tags. Absolutely love it. I love that it's got this sort of crimped decal edge around it rather than just a square, a straight edge. It also comes with a little rigging forces, whether you want them plain or whether you want that same little deckled edge on it. And you've got 5 different sizes in the tags. So I've used the largest one for this one today. I quite often use the smaller one for sentiments and things like that. I'll sometimes cut tags in vellum to put behind things to just, sort of push a background back, things like that. But this one has been done with the largest die. So I'll just pop that to one side because I have prepared the base die. I'll show you that in a second. But the first thing that I did when I started this, I've already put one project up for Halloween, which was very different to this one. But the first thing I did was get some of I've got a massive paper stash. I am a hoarder of pattern papers. And I went through and just pulled out some neutral colours and some pattern papers that I thought I could use throughout this series. So again, I'll just flick through these quickly. I've got neutrals that I can use for things, and these are from a variety of paper. I've just been through my paper pads. Love like the little damask print in the background. There's almost a suggestion of text in here. Just gone through all my paper pads and have a look at what was available. The polka dot even on the reverse of that one would be good. This is the one that I've used today that I've cut 2 circles out of, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with those in a second. But yeah, all different paper pads. I just went through them and thought, right, anything that looks suitable. I love this sort of grungy texture. I love making my own backgrounds, but I equally like using pattern papers as well. Again, that one I thought was a great one. I pulled the lettering out. I've got an idea to use the boo, I think, on this to make some designs. Love this one. Again, this has got a slight shimmer over it. It's got like a polka dot shimmer over the top of it there, but I just loved all this crackle effect. And then these are from some old Tim Holtz pads, and yeah, this one's got text on with the what's looked like the Eiffel Tower, but this side, love the stripes. Again, you've got that background there. These are double-sided ones, so whatever you want to use them for, but I thought this might be okay for cutting up tags. I've already done that with one of the pieces. Obviously more of the orange. This one again had got suitable, the numbers in. the poisons, the different tickets in there, that damask, yeah, just absolutely love them. So yeah, as I say, very old paper pads. Love the script in there, the stripes in that one. Again, you know, all these different patterns, I've just pulled them out so that I've got them to work with. And these are the two that I actually chose for making today. So we'll pop all those to one side, and I actually pulled a couple of these out just to have a look at. Just pop those over to one side somewhere safe. I actually pulled this one out as well, but it turned out that the piece that I chose, which this is the remnant of, this was the middle section of the piece that I chose, and I've actually cut what I needed from either end of one of the pattern papers. Now there is very little of it showing, you know, you can just see a little bit in the background here at the top of the tag, you know, so it doesn't have to be anything fancy. This is why I've gone for a lot of the plainer designs. But yeah, I managed to get two pieces out, one for the tag that I've already made and one for the one that I'm going to do today. And then this was one of those Tim Holtz papers again, not likely to use the portraits on the back. So I thought, yeah, let's have a look at this one with that nice little pattern. And the reason I did this is because my paper wasn't quite long enough. So this one, let me just move these out of the way. This one I had, if you can see, if I join it here, you can see the crackle goes across here. And then this, the bit under here, was the other side. So I've cut the two edges off to use with the tags. Yes, I will be keeping this piece. This will come in handy for something, without a doubt. And this is the other side of that piece of paper. I love the fact that it had got these lovely sort of orangey tones in there, which is why I've picked my colour scheme from with the tag. You've got a bit of everything, bit of, you know, sort of stamping on it. It saves doing your own backgrounds. If you're not a stamper and you're not into all the inking and things like that, the pattern paper is a great way of getting all this sort of collagey effect in without using the stamps and the inks. Now it wasn't quite long enough, which is where that other piece of paper come in, and I've just, it's again barely noticeable on here. You wouldn't know that it was two separate pieces of paper if I hadn't have mentioned it, but this one finishes here. And I've got a little tiny piece of that patterned one underneath. And then I just felt as if it needed a little bit of a lift. So I've actually used, I've got a selection of little glitter washi tapes here. And I've just picked that sort of bronzy gold one again, keeping it in the colour theme. And added a strip across the bottom. And you can just see that peeking out here at the bottom of the tag. So that's going to be my base tag. Use the little ring reinforcer here. I am going to bring out my craft mat here just to protect the desk, because we are going to do a little bit of inking. And we're going to add to this as well. You know, it's as if there isn't enough going on there. There's always the layers to go on top. So I have started inking around the edge of it with my vintage photo. I'm going to do this edge when I've finished the decoration on it, and the actual little labels here on down the side are added on. These, you know, there's a little bit of texture because this is a layer on top of it. And this was another sheet of paper from one of those Tim Holtz pads, and I have literally just cut up all the labels that was on that sheet of paper, and I've got a whole bag full of them left here of bits and pieces. This was just one 8x8 sheet of paper, and it was more use to me in all these sort of little labels than it was as a sheet of paper. So they're all good to go for future projects. And I scattered them down the side here and then cut off the edge. Now I've also created a background for this as well. So on the back of it, I didn't want all the, you know, any mess that I'd created during the process. I've just cut a piece of brown card that's just a fraction bigger, and I've cut this with a straight edge because I use my largest die to create this one. And all I'm going to do when I've finished is mat this onto the black. Two reasons: it covers up any mess on the back of the tag, and it does make it a bit more substantial. My original tag was cut from craft card, which is a good weight of cardstock, but it is a little bit flimsy for what I wanted. So yeah, this is just going to be the backdrop. It's purely to add some rigidity and to cover up anything that may happen on the back of the tag while we're busy inking and spritzing and whatever else we're going to throw at it. So I'm going to keep that one handy for when we get to that point. So I've got a little box of tricks again. I've always got my little tub of tricks, and the first thing I want to do is try and retrieve the label. So this is what was left for when I did the first tag. And at first I thought I might work the opposite way round. Because I've cut off, if I put this one here, you can see where I've actually cut the edge of these off. That was that one, that was that one, and that was that one, and that was that one. So my original idea when I remade the tag was to put these pieces down this side, but I didn't like that orientation for some reason. So I am going to stick with the left hand side, and we can make these work. It will work for what I want to do. So all I'm going to do with these have all had, whenever I'm working on a project like this, I use the Vintage Photo Distress ink with my applicator, and I've gone around all of the tags just to cover up those white edges and just dirty them up a little bit, grunge them up a bit, and we're going to use those down the edge. So all I'm going to do is follow my original pattern, and we're going to make, it might not come across the tag quite as far because these are sort of not quite as big a pieces that are left, but like I said, we can make it work. So I'm going to start up near the top here and start and work my way down. And I'm not worried that this is not, the other ones had a straight edge because they were the edge of the labels. But I'm not worried that this is not straight anymore. That doesn't bother me. I am just going to go with the flow in the theory of using up pieces that we've got. And we're just going to overlap these in a sort of higgledy-piggledy way. And I want to make sure that they're all going to hang off the edge because we're going to trim down this edge to make the edge of the tag. So all I'm going to do is I'm using my acrylic glue, which is what I tend to use for any smaller pieces or embellishments, things like that. And we're just going to stagger these in that higgledy-piggledy fashion. And it's just an extra layer. I love the layering. You've seen me do these before where I've added layers of different things. We're going to touch just very gently on mixed media today. I am going to add some other mediums onto here, and that will come later with the embellishments. I'm going to move that one up a bit, I think, because I don't want to come too far down, because we've got some more embellishments to put on. So we'll just move that one up a little bit. It did just snag my paper there, but I am going to pop this one over the top. So again, I'm not too concerned about that. This one's going to go here. And again, I've tried to leave as much of it showing as possible, like so. And then a couple of things to do to that edge. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my scissors and just trim. Now it's not a straight edge, so it is a little bit of a wibbly wobbly edge. So I have just used my scissors and I've tried to sort of emulate that edge there when I've chopped off the pieces. It was literally just a case of wiggling the scissors around. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. The ink covers up any kind of you know, problems that it may have caused with doing that little wonky edge. But yeah, just to take it off and get rid of them. And I am going to dispose of those bits now. I think I've got my worth out of that set of labels. So yeah, all the little bits that are left are going to go in my waste bin there. I don't think I need to keep those little tiny bits. I do keep lots of stuff, but I think those are done with now. And you can see now we've just got that extra decoration down the edge. And then I'm going to bring the ink back in now and finish that last edge off with the Distress ink. So I'm going to come down this edge with my applicator. I want quite a heavy application, and it literally just brings everything together. It focuses the eye. It takes away that raw edge from any die cutting. And I think personally, with this kind of project particularly, it just literally brings it all together. It does dry back a little bit lighter. You can see this side is a little bit lighter than what we've just put on there. But so far, so good. So we'll just make sure there's no residue on there. And then we're going to sort of move on to another part of it. So just before I finish off the background, I'm going to do the next bit because I need it to start drying. So I'm just going to pop this to one side for a second. And I want to bring in, I want to make this moon piece here because I'm going to use one of the new products that I've got on here. And I don't know whether you can just pick it up. I am actually in love. I've actually got some of the mica stains, the Distress Mica Stains, and oh my goodness, I am addicted. So pretty much every product, you can see it here on the fencing, you can see it on the moon, but I do need that to dry. I've already prepared the fence, but I want to work on the moon. So that piece of paper that I showed you at the beginning, I'd cut 2 circles out, and I had something else in mind when I cut these and didn't use them, so I've ended up cutting. This was way too big for what I wanted on here, so I'm actually going to cut it down. But before I do that, I want to add some more detail to it. So I've already used my ink and just gone round a portion of this to darken up that one side of the moon. And I tend to do this on the bigger piece because then I can take a crop of it with my smaller circle wherever I want that detail to be. So that's why I didn't cut it down and then do all the work on it first. So I'm happy with that one. Then I'm actually going to use a little bit of the ink on my craft mat here. So again, we're incorporating a lot of techniques with this one. I'm going to add a little bit of water in there and just very, very gently run the old finger through it so that it's not, I don't want to get a square on my piece here. So I want to, just where I've done the inking, pick up just some little bits of ink just to add some depth to it. Okay. And when I'm happy with that, the key to this, I'll just grab my heat tool, I'd forgotten that one, lives under the desk. Let's put the lid on the ink pad so that we don't dry the ink pad out. The key to this is actually drying it in between layers. So again, I'm just going to hold that one up, pop the heat tool. It doesn't take long, it's only a very thin layer of ink. But if I continue to do this, I'll just end up with a big brown puddle on the paper. That one's a wee bit dark for my liking, so I'm just going to blot that out. Again, I'm very impatient, so I do end up sort of blotting it. And then again, we're going to do the same again. I'm just going to add a little bit into that bottom area there where I'd missed. And then I can decide which part of this I want to work with when we do the die cut to get the moon shape. So again, just take off any moisture off there. It's only thin, it doesn't take long. And then I'm going to use, rather than waste the ink that's left, I'm actually going to use my splatter brush here. Add a little bit more water. Pick up that ink. We'll get rid of all this now. I can literally mop it up with the splatter brush. And I am going to add some of that vintage photo. Again, very light because we've diluted it with the water. But it saves kind of just mopping it up and wasting it. If you've got other pieces of cardstock around, you can actually mop it up with other cardstock so that you're not wasting it, but there's not a lot left on there now. So we'll get rid of that off the mat. And again, I'm just going to give that a little tiny blast with the heat tool. And this is why I like the heat tool. I do have the big whatever you want to call it, heat gun, which is much more directional, but for this kind of thing you see me using this one more than anything. So again, just drying off those little splatters that we added on there, because I'm going to add yet another layer to this, and I'm going to show you the new product that I've bought. I've only bought 6 of them. I very much think that there will be more, because I have literally, as I say, fell in love with these. You can just see, even if you don't have the next stage that I'm going to add to this, you can just see that we've created some real nice sort of imagery for the moon. You know, you might just want a tiny little bit of that in the bottom. You might want to have a larger piece there. I'm probably going to go somewhere around, I want it to be sort of, as yeah, probably like so that I've got some of the darker area at this side and the lighter area at the top. So yeah, you can decide where you want to crop. So the new product are my Distress Mica Stains. Love this product range. You know how much I love my Distress Oxide inks. I do have the Distress inks as well, and I have 1 or 2 other products from this range. But I bought 6 of them. So these are actually a really, really strong pigmented mica in a water-based suspension. And let me pop that to one side and spread them out. Keep them on the side. They do have, you can see where the mica settles in them. If you have them stood, personally, I find it takes them a lot longer to disturb and agitate the mica from the bottom as it does when it falls into the side of the bottle. There's a little ball bearing in here, and all you need to do is give them a really, really good shake so that you can see now all that lovely swirly goodness in there. And the first thing I did was actually make a swatch of these. So just to go through them, we've got the yellow there, which is Flickering Candle. Some of you may have already got these. I've got a nice orange in there with the jack-o'-lantern. So these are actually designed for Halloween, but you can use them at any time. The green one's Bubbling Cauldron. And again, you can see, you know, I didn't actually give them a wiggle, but just look. You know, I am a bit of a magpie wearer crafting. You know what I'm like with my gems, but anything that's got shine or sparkle or shimmer in, I'm there. So yeah, these were a great addition. The purple one is Hocus Pocus. And then you've got a couple of neutrals as well. So we've got Crooked Broomstick. Just look at that shimmer. And then the last one, again, you know, you might think, well, why do you need the grey? But so useful. This one's Empty Tomb. So those are 6 that I've bought. I know there are other colours available, and I know that I will be adding to this. I have literally been playing with them for the last few days and got obsessed with them. So like I said, everything will have a little bit of shimmer on them, I think, over the next, certainly this series for the Halloween. So I've just got them in a little basket here. I'm going to keep the yellow one out because that's what I want to add to the moon. And I've got my very, very technical splatter box here. Let's just tidy some of this away. I'm going to pop this in here. And again, give this, you know, shake it until you think it's mixed, and then shake it a little bit more, because you want that mica to be distributed throughout that suspension liquid. And then when you're ready, the higher up you spritz, the sort of more delicate you're going to get. The lower down, you'll get that concentrated coverage like I did on the tag. So if you go close to the cardstock, I wanted sort of an all over colour coverage on this one. This time, I just want a little bit of extra shimmer. So I'm going to go very lightly. Just give it a gentle squeeze. Ooh, don't let me down. Feel it. Now then, is that because my nozzle has clogged a little bit? I do clean them when I've used them, and I've not had any trouble with them until I go live on video. Now that's not good. I'm not keen on that idea. I think maybe I've got some of the mica in the pipe. Right, I will have to investigate that, but for the time being, we will just do the old. As I say, I've not had any of them do that, and I've been using them for a few days now. But I will just do it like so to get some of that shimmer on there. And I don't want a lot. I just want some specks here and there. Different sizes. Try not to knock the whole bottle over. This could be a very dangerous experiment. And I'm going to stop while I'm ahead, and I will check that out. As I say, I've been very careful to clean the nozzles each time I've used them, but that one does seem to have, I might just need to flush that through with some warm water. So I'll check that in due course. But again, it is only very, very subtle. I'm going to take the heat tool again and dry that off, and you'll see that mica pop to the surface when we dry it. And then I can decide whereabouts I want to sort of cut and crop this to get the moon size that I'm after. So again, just give it a blast with the heat tool. Obviously the larger drops are going to take a wee bit longer, but it doesn't take long. And I wanted to show you this. I have prepared a lot of stuff for this because there's a lot going on with the tag, but I wanted to show you some of the techniques and how I've arrived at it, so that if you wanted to have a go at this, you know where to get the effect from. Now, it doesn't have to be the mica stain. Again, you know, I am very much promoting here use what you've got. So if you've got a shimmer spray that doesn't have a mica particle in it, you could just use an ordinary shimmer spray. You could use a different coloured ink. If you have the oxide inks, they would layer up over this beautifully. But just look at that lovely golden yellow on there. I just absolutely love it. So I'm going to give that a second to dry now, and we'll come back to the tag for a minute. And what I want to do now is I've got a little bit of what looks like faux stitching. Well, it is faux stitching. It looks like real stitching down the side. Now, I do have a sewing machine in the craft room, but it is well buried because I don't use it very often. So if I've got something that'll do the job, and yet I don't have the texture on there, but it's the illusion that there's something there. So what I'm going to do is take my stamping platform, and this is from one of my abstract sets. I've just got a little tiny here. Oops, bring this over. It's just like a little stitch line, and what I'm going to do is pop this one that we're working on in the stamp platform like so, and then I'm going to use this one right down this edge here. So I am literally just going to line it up sort of from where that corner piece starts, and I'm going to use a black ink. I'm going to use my VersaFine Clair over that because it's a really nice strong pigmented ink. Oops, pop that up there. I'm going to ink that up and just give it a press on here. You can see we've got that lovely faux stitching line. Now I'm just going to press a wee bit harder over where those tickets join so that we can try and get a continuous line like so. And then I'm going to do that again. I'm going to move the stamp down, so give it a little clean. I'm going to flip it round now so that the open edge is at the bottom, and I'm just going to over stamp and bring it right down the edge here, so it just looks as if it's been in my sewing machine, and it's got a little bit of faux stitching down the side. Now again, if you don't have this kind of stamp set, you could do this with a pen. You could do it freehand. Sometimes you've seen me do those wobbly lines down things. Draw the wobbly lines, draw a couple of zigzags, couple of scattered little frayed ends where the threads have stopped, and you're going to get the same kind of effect. So again, as I say, when I started the channel, I very much wanted to promote that using what you have. I don't necessarily want people to have to go out and buy all the things I have. If you want to do that, fair enough. And most of my things I've had a very long time, and if not, it usually comes from Amazon. I'm a big shopper on Amazon, mainly because it arrives the next day and I don't have to wait. I am not a patient crafter at all. I have the subscription where I can get the delivery the next day. So yeah, I usually have a look on there and think, right, well, that's suitable. I can do that. I can make that do that. And there we go. So that's pretty much the background. Can you see how these tags have sort of blended into that background now? There is a little bit of texture there when you feel at them, but they've literally been drawn into that background. You'd think they were actually part of the pattern paper. So this is good to go for our background. I'm going to pop the lid on my ink before I lean in it and end up in all sorts of trouble. We will die cut this in a second. I'm just going to give it a little bit longer to dry, and then I'm going to choose my place and die cut it with the circle there. And this is just one of my nested circles. So what we're going to do next is prepare this bottom edge. So I've got a couple of pieces. Let's have a little look. What do we need? We need the now then, what did I do with that piece? I've got a bit missing somewhere. That's interesting. What did I do? I will find it in a second. I'm missing my little coffin, and I know I'd left it somewhere because I wanted to add another layer to it, and now it is absent without leave. It's quite possibly in the bin. Let me just have a little rummage at the side of me here. I know I remember putting it somewhere because I wanted to do something with the black pen. Now then, this could be anywhere. It's probably sat right in front of me, but I think I've picked that up with something else, and it literally could be anywhere. Oh, bother me. Have I knocked it on the floor, one asks? Right, I'm not going to waste a lot of time now. I will just have a double check and see if I can find that for you. Nope, I cannot find that. I've had a good rummage around. I had to pause the video because it's going to bug me to death, but I can't find it. I've just emptied my small bin, so I'm wondering whether it's got put in there by mistake, but I have die cut another one, and I will show you how I've done that ready when we get to it. And I also did the crop out of my moon circle while I was off camera, so we've got that ready. And I will keep this bit as well, you know, because you know I'm actually seeing a crescent moon in this bit, which may be useful for another project, so I will keep that to one side. So I've got the piece that I want to use now on my design. Just pop the die to one side there. And we were starting to talk about the little fence that goes across the bottom, and these are from various die sets that I've accumulated over the years. Some of them are Crafter's Companion, some of them are old Stampin' Up dies and stamps and things like that. But I've die cut the little crooked fence, and then I've just added some of that mica spritz over the top, and I used the grey black one for this, which was the tomb, empty tomb. So we're actually going to pop this across the bottom, but I want a little bit of black foam tape for this, and I've got some very, very narrow black foam tape from Sticks 2, and I'm just going to put that right across the back. It is a wee bit longer than what I need, so I will chop this down once we get it in situ. But that's going to be the base part here, and this is going to go right across with a little bit of that gold peeking out here. And I think what I'm going to do is move the mat now, because we're slipping about here. I can work on the desk now. So all I'm going to do then is I'm going to add this bit to it first of all, and I'm going to take off the backing tape. And because I'm going on to the glitter card, the glitter washi tape here, I am going to add a little bit of adhesive just to help it stick. The adhesive soaks into the glitter card and gives a real nice bond. So I'm just going to add some of the glue. Now I just want this to go, so I'm just going to pop glue along that edge where I know it's going to fit, and then we can trim off the excess. So I just want to pop this poking off just a fraction off the edge, like so. And then again, I'm going to turn it over. Well, I can do it from this side. I just want a little tiny bit of this peeking over the edge, which is going to sort of pop over into that back. Remember the background piece that we made. So when we pop it on here, it'll pretty much be edge to edge. Okay. So I'm quite happy with that, she says, just snipping it back because that bit wasn't straight. There we go. So that's my fence at the bottom here. We'll get that moon put in place. I'm going to put this up at the top with the lighter portion at the top, the darker portion round the bottom. And I do want to just add that we mopped up was quite dark. So I'm just going to add a little bit more depth round that bottom edge there. Okay. And clean the old desk. I don't normally do that on the desk for that reason, because it does sometimes stain this one. There we go. So yeah, this is going to go, and I am going to leave this off the edge. I don't necessarily want it. I did consider trimming it, but I am actually going to leave it across the whole edge. So I'm going to pop that on here, and all I'm going to do with my pencil is just mark that outside edge. And then I know that that's where I don't actually need any glue. So we'll put glue on the rest of it here. And then I can line that up again at the back there. And just get that into place and leave that one to dry. So that's going to be our moon. And then we're pretty much now ready for decorations. Okay, so let's bring in the little box of tricks again, and I'm going to leave the acrylic glue out because this is the one that I use for my embellishments. So I've got, and I'll show you where I've got these from. I've got a couple of branches, and that's the die for those. I've also got a couple of die cuts. I've got my sentiment, and these are just going to embellish the tag now. So I've used several things. The cat is from one of the Crafter's Companion ranges that they brought out last year called All Hallows Eve. And obviously these dimensions are slightly larger than the actual size. So that's my little cat, and he's going to be walking across the top. He's going to look as if he's currently hung himself on the fence. Come out. There we go. He's going to look as if he's walking across the top of the fence like so. Oh, now then, just excuse my phone there. I had an alarm on just to remind me of the time, because I have somewhere else I need to be, but I want to get this finished first. And then the witch is from a different die set. I haven't got that one out, I don't think. And then I've used the little coffin, which was the one that I'd lost. I don't know where that's gone. It will turn up when I finish videoing. So I've re-die cut it, and I've just used my black gel pen, my glaze pen, just to highlight that detail on the front of it there. We're going to use that as well. And then I've stamped a Trick or Treat. I think this was from the same set as the witch. Pop those to one side. The branch is from, again, you know, nothing to do with Halloween. You've seen me use this before. This is actually a Sizzix design. It's got that lovely branch in there, so why not use it? And I'm going to sort of bring those in as a creepy element on there. So I want to do a little bit of sticking in place now, and just get some of these embellishments stuck down before I have to dash out. So he's going to look as if he's walking along the top of the fence like so. The witch is going to go as if she's flying in the background, and that's why I like the sort of smaller. I've got a couple of these, but I wanted the smaller design because I wanted it to look as if she was in the distance. So she's going to come along here like so. Okay, and then the branches I'm going to bring in from this side. I'm not going to use all of them. I'm just going to bring them in from the side into that moon area so that it looks, you know, a little bit spooky. And then the coffin, this is actually meant to be a little coffin, but I thought it reminded me a little bit more of a, in this scenario, of a little gravestone. And what I'm going to do with that one is tuck it behind the fence here. It's just so it's propped up in that corner. And then again, I want some glue, just little tiny dots of glue on the back of the branch here. And we're going to bring this into frame. So the first one is going to come right into the moon, like so. And get that one stuck down. And then the second one isn't going to come quite as far. So I'm just going to put the glue a little bit closer to that edge there, just in places to secure it. And this one's not going to come quite as far in. We're going to come to sort of maybe about there. Okay, and let them stick. And use the wax paper there to give those a good press. It allows me to add the pressure, and it also absorbs any of that ink. And my ink dries clear, so I don't have to worry about any of that showing. And then we'll also pop the Trick or Treat on as well, and I want this to be sort of hanging off that edge again. I like the idea that this sort of complemented the moon, and that we're going to have a little bit of it just sticking off the edge. I want the wording on the design, but just that little bit sticking out there like so. So that's that bit. Pop that to one side, and then once these are dry, we can trim off. And it's just the branches that I'm going to trim, nothing else. I'm quite happy with the rest of it sticking off the edge there. So these bits can go, and you can see that coming into play now. And then I'm not going to do the final bit of embellishment. I will show you the original one. I tend not to use the gems twice because I often don't keep the second one that I've made, and it just seems a bit of a waste with the gems. But what I am going to do is this little bit of embellishment here, and I said we were just touching very, very slightly on mixed media at the bottom here. And the last couple of bits that I've got left are some cheesecloth here, and again this is just, you know, bits that I have in my stash, and I just need a little bit of that, and then I sort of pull it and distort it and fray it, and it wants to look raggy. And then this again, I'm going to stay with the embellishment glue, and I want to pop this on here and then just sort of scrunch it into place and hold that down. And then this is a little wooden embellishment. I found these, I think I bought them last year from one of our stores here in the UK called The Works, and there's a whole set of these little wooden ones. I think they were only a couple of pound, and they will do great. So yeah, I've been using the little spider webs, and I've actually coated that with some of that mica stain. I've used the crooked broomstick on there, and I am going to pop some of that acrylic glue on the back here, and then just pop this in the corner like so. So yeah, very, very slightly touching on mixed media. And then if you've got something heavy, you can pop that on there to hold it down, but the glue does grab quite quickly, the one that I use. And we're just about there. And then I've actually got black and white twine, so I can pop a little bit of that through the hole at the top. Now, if you do have any fibres of any sort, you can add those in as well. I added a little bit of orange fibre that I found lying around in one of my boxes. Okay, so you can see there that we're almost finished. Now, these aren't quite dry. I actually made the little tiny flowers, and this is a flower die that I got. And I keep it all together. There's lots of different flowers on there. And all I did was create a little bit of spritz with the orange, the yellow and the brown from the mica stains. But they're not actually quite dry because I used my Nuvo drops in the centre in an attempt to keep them from using extra gems, and they're not quite dry. So I'm not going to put those on, but you can see, you know, you could leave it at this stage if you wished, but you can just see by adding these little tiny flowers in how it's sort of almost softened it a little bit. It's bringing in an element that you maybe wouldn't associate with Halloween. And then the very last thing that I have in my little pot of goodies are just some die cut stars, and again they've been done from some of that yellow. I did say that I was using that mica stain. I have got very giddy with it, and I'm just going to pop some little stars, and it just brightened it a little bit, adding that yellow in there. And I'm just going to pop one up the top there, and then a couple against the moon. And again, these are all optional extras. You know, if you don't have the stars, you don't have to put them on. I'm just going to pop them on like so. So again, I tied a bow in this one. It may be that you want to tie a knot in the top of this and use it as an actual tag. So again, different ways to do it. So you could actually hang it at this point or use it as a gift tag. And then all I did at the end was add my glue all over the back once I'd finished. And again, I'm staying with that acrylic glue purely because my background card has got a slight coating to it here. And then I'm going to add the whole thing onto here, just like I said at the beginning, to give it a little bit of support, bit of rigidity, and then I can leave that to dry. And then I've also got a surface, if you do want to use it as a tag, either a white gel pen or a metallic gel pen, and that will write your message on the back. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that one today. Something a little bit different, very different to the last tutorial that I put up. So yeah, let me know, you know, do you like the pretty stuff? Do you like the grungy stuff? Do you like it all? And if you did enjoy it, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and I will be back with another Halloween project very, very soon. So enjoy the rest of your day. Bye now.